Hi, my name's Gerry. I'm a twin troller boat owner. This is my twin troller, and I'm a lifelong fisherman. At the end of this month, I will have owned this boat for 7 years. For years, people have been complaining about an issue that they have with the boat. And I have said, I've never had that issue. But I need to apologize to all of you that I said that to. Let me explain what that is. When I finished recording the video that I did about installing my life scope system on this boat, I had the boat pushed a little bit farther out into the entrance of the garage just to get some more light on it. When I pushed this back in, something happened, and I need to show you what that is. My boat is right now in the position that it was, and I took this and pushed this like this. And I heard a noise. I'm gonna take my mic and I'm gonna put it on the back end of the boat. I hope that you heard that sound. If you didn't, it sounds like water, and it sounds like a lot of water. I've owned this boat. At the end of this month, it'll be 7 years. Up to that point, I never had water in the hull that I knew of. Lots of other people have commented that they did. You see that black dot just over the side of the boat there? That's a drain. They come from the factory with that drain hole there, one on each side. This boat is old enough that they didn't have them back then. So even though I didn't have water in the boat, I installed those, one on each side, just to show people who had an older boat that they could put them in and how to do that in case they needed them. Well, I never thought I'd need it, but I do now. But to use that, I have to take everything out of the boat. Take the motor off, take the battery out if I want, I suppose. Anything that's loose, flip the boat up onto its side with all that water and all that weight, wiggle it around till all the water comes out, flip it back over, do the same thing to this side. I don't want to do that. If you are interested, right below this video, click on Show More, and you will see links to most of the items used in many of my videos. When I first heard that sound, I said to myself, well, what do I do now? I remember, and I think it was on Facebook, I saw someone that drilled a hole in the boat. Actually, I've seen a couple of people that drilled holes in their boat, some on the bottom. I don't want to say things bad, but that's kind of a dumb idea. If that leaks, water's coming in. Another guy drilled a hole right about here, one on each side. And then he, I'm assuming, siphoned the water out somehow, used a vacuum or whatever, and got the water out that way. Especially crank up the jack on the front of the trailer and tip this up as high as it can so I can get all the water here. And if you look, the bottom of the boat that stops going horizontal before it starts coming more vertical is right here. So I want to drill a hole right here so the peak of the water would be directly under here. Well, what am I going to put there? A couple of things I can put there. In the boat, we have a plug. That's a 1-inch plug. Now I carry spares in the boat, so I could install another one of these right here, but I think I have 3 spares. They're all identical. They stick up like this, and this is an aft go. They stick up like that, and I could see fishing line or things catching on this all the time. But this is a 1-inch plug. There's something to be said about having a spare that's the same size as the one that's in the bottom of the boat, should you need it. But I carry a spare one in my emergency bag anyway. I've decided to install a smaller one, and this is a 1/2 inch. Let me wiggle it in case the reflection is that you can't see it. And this is what it looks like. It's a little one. Hope it focuses. Does the same thing. You flip it over. Now the only thing I got sticking up is from the bottom of this rubber piece up to here, and it's kind of smooth. So I'm gonna drill. This is a 1/2 inch. I'm gonna drill a hole here, and I'm gonna drill a hole there. Well, how will I get the water out? There's a number of ways you can get it out. You can just use a regular tube with a siphon if you want. They have ball-operated siphons for getting water or transferring liquids, whether it be gasoline from one can to another. You can use one of those. But I have something else. I have a 12-volt pump. It's got a long, skinny pickup tube and a bigger tube that goes where you want to dump it. That's what I'm going to do. Let me show you what I'm going to do. We'll do it and I'll show you how it works. And another thing I want to know is how much water is in there. So I'm going to try and put it into a container where I'll be able to measure it somehow. Okay, you've probably seen me use these before. It's a drill gauge. This is a 1/2 inch. That determines the actual size. If I spin this and I crank this, this gets fatter. So this is kind of adjustable, and that's the least amount because it has no squeeze on it. But this little plate is what determines the 1/2 inch. If I go to the next size down, it won't even fit in. But this one, the 1/2 inch, it fits in. So that's the size I want to drill to. However, I'm going to start out with a 1/4 inch bit, and then this is a 1/2 inch bit. Let's drill it. This white dot, I marked where I want it to go. That's painful. I don't like drilling into the boat. There's my hole, and just to give you some idea, the thickness of this is about that thick. That's how thick the material is in the boat. And this will go in, fits in pretty good. Let me adjust this so it's a little bit, put a little bit more squeeze. Put it in, put a squeeze, and there you go, and I'm done. This really isn't in the way. My rods can still be over the top. I don't think it'll catch the fishing line at all. Not that noticeable, I suppose. Okay, I have the nose of the boat raised up pretty high to tip this back. What you're looking at is the bucket. I'm gonna suck the water out of the boat into this bucket. There's the discharge hose. Here's my pump. It's got alligator clips to the battery. Here's my hose. Got a little bit of kink into it, trying to straighten it out to get it to go straight down. This motor makes a little bit of noise, so bear with me. Now, hopefully you can see that quite well. And I am surprised at the amount of water in there. And this is only one side. And it's still going. Now this is a tall 5-gallon pail, taller than a 5-gallon pail. It's how I buy pool chlorine. And that has now filled that to about 7 1/4 to 7 1/2 inches of water. I'm going to go fast forward, but I wanted to show you I'm going to do it again. I took a marker. I don't know if you can see this. There's the water line right there. I put that mark. 7 3/4 of an inch of water in that bucket. let's do the same thing to this side and see how much we get. Okay, I guess that's a good sign. I didn't get much water out this side. Nowhere is near what I got from the last one. And let me show you where the water level is now. It's right there. So maybe I got a quart of water out of this side, but I got many gallons out of the other side. Just yesterday, I discovered there was water inside the hull of the boat. My conclusion this morning is that, gee, the boat kind of scoots along different. It sits different in the water. So I'm thinking that maybe that water was in the boat for a while. I don't know. No way to know that. It turns easier. I mean, it was 3 gallons of water, but it's right in the low end of the boat in the back. Maybe it's my imagination. Maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to try throughout the day and see if I think it feels better. It unloaded from the trailer a lot easier too. At least that's my observation. It's a couple of days after I shot this video, and I've been out fishing twice in the Twin Troller. But I wanted to give you a couple of updates. One is I took all the water that I extracted from the hull of the Twin Troller and I measured it, and I was about an ounce short of 3 gallons. So that means there was 3 gallons inside the hull. I think that's a lot. I have pulled this plug since I got home, and I tried sticking the hose to try to extract any more water, and I cannot find any at all. But I've also found something else that I didn't even plan on doing. If I was to look down in the middle of this hole, and it's daytime out like it is now, I can see at the bottom of the hull, there's a round disc, and they're on all of our boats. I believe they're part of the manufacturing process. It's kind of a clearish piece of plastic, and so when it's light out like it is now, I can look through here and I can kind of look through that almost like a window, and I can shake the boat and I can't see any water. If you happen to do this, you can always take a flashlight and stick it underneath where that plastic dome is, and then look in here, and you can really see inside there fairly well. So I have no more water in there. So maybe my conclusion is that water has been in this boat for a while, maybe before I sealed the boat, and I sealed it inside. But that's a conclusion that I don't have a way to prove. There's one thing that I probably learned out of this. However way the water got in, probably got in more on this side of the boat than it did on that side of the boat, because I took more water out of this side. I'm not 100% sure that there isn't a way for the water to shift from side to side, but if there is, maybe that's one explanation. Now, what am I going to do about it? I don't know. I sealed everything I can seal. If you look back on a video that I did, I'll try to show it up here. That was me sealing everything in the boat. And back then I didn't even know I had a leak. I have never, ever had water dripping out of the boat onto the garage floor. So wherever it's gotten in, I don't know. But there's a possibility. Maybe just like I didn't know that this had water in it up until I did this, maybe this water's been in here for a long time. Maybe it's in there before I sealed everything, and I sealed everything inside the boat. I don't know. Over time, when I use it, if I come back out, pull the plugs, try and pump out any water that's in there, if there's a bunch of water, I know it's still leaking. I hope this helped. I don't have a real solution other than if I don't find more water in here in the future, it means what I did in my sealing worked. Thanks for watching. If you're having an issue, Hopefully this will have helped. Come see me again. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Subscribe if you haven't. And have a nice day. Bye now.